Hello everyone. Well, holidays are coming. We're taping this on November 12th, and so that means we're just about 2 weeks away from Thanksgiving. And then in December there's Hanukkah, and then Christmas, and then New Year's. It's a really good time to talk about preparing for holiday get-togethers. It's something we all do every year. We look forward to it. And yet, is it a good idea, a bad idea? What should you do? So I'd like to talk about that for a few minutes, give you some suggestions, not just my own ideas, but right from the CDC and from other experts. So first of all, right now, we know the cases are rising pretty dramatically. Really dramatically. Here's a little graph of it. It's from yesterday, and you can just see it's going up and up and up, and probably it's going to continue to go up. There's no reason why it should start going down. So that's the unfortunate part. The other thing to remember is that's cases. In other words, people that have symptoms, that have gone to the doctor or the hospital, had a check done, and they've got it. But we know that most people who get infected never have a symptom. So that number you see on that graph, you got to multiply that by at least 2, and maybe by as much as 10. But anyway, it's a much bigger number. And remember, the other thing is that much of the transmission of this virus is by those asymptomatic people. They don't know they have it, so they don't think about it. And you don't know they have it, and that's the key here. So, you think about how this virus is spread. We know it's spread through the air, and we know it's spread in crowds. We know it's spread where people are close together, in areas where there's not good air flow or air circulation, where people are together, maybe singing, maybe talking loudly because there's a group. Does that sound like a holiday get-together? It does to me. So, what's my message? You got to think about it. You got to make a decision. I'm going to give you some pros and cons about what you might do, a risk-benefit analysis. Give it a lot of thought. You got to make a decision that's best for you, your family, your friends, your neighbors, what you think is best all around. We've talked about this before, caution fatigue. Caution fatigue is very real. We've been at this since March, actually a little bit in February. That's 9 months. People are tired. They're just bored of all this. They're frustrated. And they're still scared. You know, Tom Moore, who's taken the video, told me about a person who said just recently here on this campus, well, since the COVID stopped, was over, it hasn't stopped. It's not over. The virus is out there. It still wants to get you. It still wants to infect you. It still wants to kill you, to be blunt about it. And so you've got to be alert. Here's a photograph of Dr. Fauci, and his mask on, of course. And I just want to read what he said. Thanksgiving gatherings could cause coronavirus cases to rise even faster than they already are. And that's kind of saying something. Some people think that Dr. Fauci doesn't really understand it all, but I think if you look back over time, he's told it like he sees it, straight out, no messing around. He's right. The cases are going up, and a holiday gathering without adequate protections, as we'll talk about in a minute, are just a setup for trouble. So there's some recent information, and again I'm going to look at my notes to get it right, but we know now that most of the transmission, most of the spread of this virus comes in group settings. Group settings like what? Like a restaurant, like a bar, like coffee shops, and like gyms. Those 4 are the ones that were, in a big survey of where the virus is being transmitted, that's the place. The other place is right at home, right at home. Someone comes in with the virus, and it spreads, within that nuclear family. So what to do. First of all, this is very real. This is very, very real. And yeah, I know we've been through it for 9 months. And I'll say this again at the end, but if you've been through it for this length of time, this is not the time to stop and say, heck, I'm going to do things differently. This is the time to, go, we know some vaccines are coming. We know some treatments are coming. This will come to an end, but it sure isn't here yet. So, what does the CDC recommend? Again, I want to look at my notes to be sure I get it right. It says, first of all, avoid large group gatherings. Large group gatherings. You can make your own definition of what's large. Outdoors is better than indoors. Now, we're doing this outdoors today, but it's also raining right over there. I'm underneath the shade. Outdoors may not be very reasonable on Thanksgiving Day or Christmas Day or New Year's Day. You want good air circulation. It's great out here. There's plenty of air circulation, but in there, it's not. There may be air circulation, so if you're going to do it, you want to be in a situation where there's a lot of air turnover. Turnover is very important. And you got to wear a mask, and you got to social distance. Well, then you say, but I'm going to sit down to dinner. Somebody's going to be sitting here, and somebody's going to be sitting here. That's not social distancing. You can't eat with a mask on. So it's an issue. You can't get around it. What other suggestions do they have? Well, only have one person serve food. Don't have everybody going around and wandering around. One person serve the food. Let's stop back for a minute. During the pre-dinner time, masks, social distance. All right, now we sit down to dinner. It should be in an area where there's good air circulation, ventilation. Open all the windows, get the fans going if necessary. So you want to avoid, I said one person serving, also you want to avoid potluck, because then everybody's going to go around and get in line sort of thing. That's not a good idea. Wash your hands frequently as always. No hugging, no handshakes. I know, you get together for Thanksgiving, you want to hug, you want to be friendly. This is not the time. This is just not the time. The other thing is, this is not a good time to go singing or talk loudly. Loud talk just projects the virus. Singing really projects the virus. Not quite like a cough, but it just puts it out. And remember, the asymptomatic person doesn't know they've got it. And you don't know they've got it. So not much you can do about that. But if they're next to you and it's an enclosed area, over a period of time, your chance of picking up the virus really goes up. So my suggestion to you is, with this information, which I suspect you probably already knew, you need to do your own risk-benefit analysis. What's the risk of getting infected? What's the benefit of getting together? And that's really what it boils down to. You got to limit the number who attend, so that, if you're going to be 6 feet apart, you got to do things in a way that isn't too crowded. You want to be outside if possible. That may not be possible, of course. Tom's just getting the camera covered here because it's starting to rain a bit. If you're inside, it needs to be a large room. You need to have good ventilation. Maybe just think about the whole thing differently. Just think about the idea, if you want to get together, why not go out to the state park and take a hike together? That way you're outside. Skip the meal. You don't have to have a meal. I know it's traditional, and you want to have your turkey and stuffing and gravy, but maybe this isn't the year for that. So take a hike, do something else, but something other than food. And again, I just want to remind you that we all have this caution fatigue. I know I have it. And we're all getting tense and we're frustrated, but this is not the time to let up. Not the time to just say, I don't care. So wear the mask if you're getting together with people. Take it off only when you're eating. Put it back on. So I just would urge, think it through. Just think it through. What's most important? You're going to say, well, gee, my cousin Harry, I know he doesn't. He won't be infected. Well, we know right here on this campus that has been the problem. People have gone off campus to meet with Cousin Harry. Harry didn't know he was infected, but he called a couple of days later and said, gee, I'm sorry to tell you this. And then suddenly that person was infected too. So think it through, decide what fits your needs. My own recommendation, however, is keep it to a nuclear family, and that's it. Don't add Cousin Harry and everyone else. It's just not the time to do it, but I understand the pressure. It's an internal pressure. We all want to get together. Not a good time to do it. So with that, just remember the mask, social distance, well ventilated, and otherwise, think about Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Hanukkah, maybe in a little different way. Thanks a lot.